Welcome to Poets of War, a podcast documenting the brood of writers, where art, theology, philosophy, and fun beckon your ears. Today on the program, we intercept a massive, wide-ranging transmission covering everything from musical adaptations and cooking exotic meats to deep historical lectures, theological triangulation, and a heartfelt plea for unity amidst the ongoing debate over AI in the creative process.
God of song, said the warrior bard, though all the world betray thee, one sword at least I right shall guard, one faithful harp shall praise thee.
Recorded December 10th, 2025.
The prophecy, so I'm trying to get Jesse's input on it at some point. I know he's busy tonight, but get his input and help to finish it up. But it's really close.
I talked to him earlier, and he said that the biggest, it was really close. The biggest issues that he saw were just the transition in and out of the actual prophecy.
I'll buy him another one.
Yeah. Yep. Sweet. There's a few vocal spots that I probably want to hit with him and try to get 100%, but as best as I can. But yeah, and then like the ending bit, kind of, but not really. It's semi-secret work in progress, but not really. I'm working on. Yeah, well, I don't mind saying a little bit. I'm working on turning Guardians of Atlanta, my big epic right now, into musical in the similar vein of Epic the Musical. Just a musical that's not animated, that may one day be animated, kind of a thing. Just an album. And
are you working on that with Jesse
and Alex? They are my biggest critics when it comes to in a good way. They're the biggest critics that are still like, well, you might be able to do something with AI. And so
I'm the kind of guy who doesn't really like musicals, so I'm definitely never ever the guy to ask about that.
Right.
No, well, I've never watched Epic. I don't like it.
Musicals are great,
Epic?
Carrie.
You didn't do Epic or Hamilton?
Never. Hamilton. I have never seen. I've seen.
You've seen musicals. I know you have. Everyone has.
No.
Did you see Matilda?
Is Matilda a musical?
There's a musical version.
No, I've never seen the musical version. I've never seen a musical, actually.
Hey, Hamilton's so good, but the first line.
No, I've never seen a musical.
Okay, we gotta sit you down in front of Hamilton next time you're up here, man.
I don't know. That just seems so boring. Don't they just like act out a movie and then sing?
No,
song every 5 minutes.
No. Okay. So Hamilton specifically is entirely sung through. Like the entire thing is one long song, effectively.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
As is Epic with the musical.
Yeah. So every single thing that happens in rap in Hamilton. There are technically a couple of actual songs, but most of it is rap.
Oh, okay.
It's very much very, very similar to what Shakespeare does, where he's taking the histories of the people and he's putting them in common vernacular. Lynn was doing that, but instead of putting into like early English, he was putting it into hip hop.
Yep.
I love it. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah. The other thing is there are lots of really, really good ones that there are animated ones. I'm sure you've seen some Disney movies in your time, like, Beauty and the Beast or, something like that. Those are musicals, and music in those tends to add to the story rather than take away from it if done properly, which most of Disney's 90s stuff definitely was done properly. The other ones that you could look, I bet he would love Repo the Genetic Opera.
Probably.
I bet he would love honestly the sound of music.
You should explain the premise of Repo to him.
I don't know when I just muted myself, but I don't know how long I've been muted, but I apologize. I've been responding to you guys and I looked down and I was like, I'm not lit up.
We heard none of it.
Nope, none of it. Do you want to respond before I continue and tell you what Repo the Genetic Opera is?
The only one, I guess my favorite Disney, the only one I guess musical, quote unquote, since you mentioned Disney movies is what's that song movie? Princess and the Frog.
Oh
heck yeah.
Princess and the Frog is great.
Yeah, I knew you'd seen Princess and the Frog because you like Ray.
Yeah, Ray's my favorite character of like any Disney movie.
Ray is fantastic.
You would really like Repo. Repo the Genetic Opera is this story, and that one's actually sung all the way through as well. It's a movie that is about a weird dystopian future sci-fi kind of thing where people are basically like buying and selling crazy, ridiculous human augmentation upgrades, and if you can't pay for them, and they become status symbols for people. People always get like crazy upgrades and stuff. And so if you can't pay for them, the Repo Man comes to take it back.
Genco mercenaries who repossess the organs. Wow.
Yep.
Legalized murder.
I thought you would like the premise of Repo.
Now keep in mind, it is a hard R. So just keep that in mind. But
it's based off of a book called Repo the Genetic Opera. It got turned into a movie starring Christian Bale called Repo Men. And then it got turned into a musical called Repo the Genetic Opera. And I think there's also a video game of it.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, Repo, hold on. What? Repo
also,
Men?
Yeah, Repo Men is the movie.
With Christian Bale?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The musical has Giles from Buffy the Vampire Slayer in it. Anthony Stewart Head.
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, he's what's her face's dad in that movie. I always forget her name. Yeah.
I don't even wait. Hold on. Am I crazy? I don't even see Christian Bale in here. Am I looking at the right one?
Jude Law, not Christian Bale.
Jude Law. I was about to say.
I get Jude Law and Christian Bale mixed up remarkably often.
Well, it's got Forrest Whitaker in it.
It does.
Whitaker? I forget how to pronounce his name.
Whitaker. It's Whitaker. Just like Mr. Whitaker. Oh, Joshua. Did you see that there is an animated feature-length Adventures in Odyssey movie coming out next December?
I did. I am interested to see what they do with it.
I was very disappointed to see that it wasn't hand-drawn animation because they were showing all of the I'm not surprised either, but they were showing all of the hand-drawn concept art and stuff, and I'm like, dude, that looks amazing. If Focus on the Family came in with a relatively wide theater release of a hand-drawn feature-length animated movie, they would make
kill it, but they'd never take that risk.
Bang.
But yeah, they'd never take that risk.
I know. Dr. Dobson just died. They have to know. They have to know that the writing is on the wall. They cannot survive forever without Dr. Dobson.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they just throw a Hail Mary? All of our resources, the only IP they have, the only real IP they have is Adventures in Odyssey.
Yes.
Throw all of your resources into that and do it.
See, here, the thing is, as Odyssey can be whatever they want it to be under Focus on the Family, and to them, I think that they've never considered Focus on the Family except for a very, very brief period in the 90s. They've always considered it a nonfiction brand, a theology brand, a lifestyle brand. And that's the thing. I don't think that's ever going to change. I think Odyssey will become completely independent before Focus on the Family leans into Odyssey as its flagship.
Dang.
Oh, I know.
It's their only IP.
I know it is. Other than recordings of Dobson giving talks. Yeah, exactly.
That's not even intellectual property though. Like that's not a recognizable brand. The only recognizable brand that they have is Odyssey.
I know that, and you know that, but Wally P. Nezer was a little confused.
They could shut down everything else and only do Odyssey forever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's that meme. It's the X team operating at 100%, X team operating at 99%. Mm-hmm. Like the 99% of focus on the family is Odyssey.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Carrie, have you ever listened to Adventures in Odyssey? Or are we just completely cutting you out of this conversation?
I have zero clue. Any of the characters you mentioned, I've heard of it, but I've never actually watched or listened to it.
It's really good. It's one of the seminal pieces of media for my childhood.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm just not really. I don't know. I'm not a really big TV watcher.
It's a audio drama.
Or show. That's true.
It is the longest running audio drama by like the number of years it's been on air ever.
Okay.
So like it, you know those old like serials that you would have on radio? Tune in next time to hear what happens. That type of thing.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, it's that type of thing, but modernized, relatively modernized. 80s? Started in the 80s.
It started in the 80s and it has never stopped. It's still going today.
Yeah.
Wow.
They had a hiatus for like 5 years in the early 2010s. But other than that, yeah, it has continually been on the air. It's fantastic. And the new stuff is just as good as the old stuff, which is...
I've heard that. I have not listened to much of the new stuff yet. It's on my list, so... it is on my list.
So, this is my go-to example for, like, the new stuff being just as good as the old stuff. Possibly better. I think it's the best it's ever been since Blackguard. Blackguard was a very particular story arc that happened in the... early 90s? Mid 90s?
Late 90s. Mid to late 90s, yeah.
Mid to late 90s. That everyone who listens to Odyssey looks back on fondly. But there is an album in the new Odyssey stuff where one of the main characters is
Alex. I can hear him. Hey, Alex.
Hello.
My father says hi.
Hello, Mr. Wade.
Alex says hi.
But one of the main characters ends up being haunted by a demon who is taking the form of a Russian atheistic philosopher. And she spends the entire album wrestling with like high-level philosophical arguments against Christianity from this Russian atheist.
That's fun.
Yeah. It's nuts. It's so good.
Yeah, I am gonna have to listen soon. Oh man. But yeah, the musical thing is cool. I've been drafting using AI, but then doing a lot of extra stuff to, change it up, adding my voice, all that other kind of stuff. And I always seem to be really close to getting it really nice. And then it's like, not quite. And so that's why I've been pulling Jesse and Alex in. And I think after I gave them an hour and a half video of the first like 4 episodes, 3 episodes with a little bit of extra, they went, oh, okay, yeah, there's some potential here. Let's see what we can do. So they've been helping me with that. And so I've been cracking away at it. Speaking of which, Alex, I just started drafting for The Great Phantasma today. I'm kind of super excited about that from a musical perspective.
Yeah. Now, what's the musical like identity that you're going for with that?
Combination of early 2010s hip hop and early 80s funk.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I can
really
hear that working in. It definitely fits Bobby's character.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And so adding in the creepy carnival thing into that flavor is gonna be really nice.
Yep.
So yeah, should be really good. But yeah. So Carrie, have you cooked anything absolutely delicious lately?
From the theatrical stage to the untamed wilderness, the brood swaps wild stories about cooking pot roast beaver and literally eating crow. Then special guest Mr. Wade drops in to school the group on the surprising, historically accurate realities of Old West gun control.
Not since that lamb.
Yeah, was it really good?
Oh yeah, that's so good. Oh. I was staring it up.
How did you do it?
Make pot roast beaver Saturday.
Wait, what, Daddy?
I'm teaching Faith to make pot roast beaver.
We're making pot roast beaver?
Yeah.
On Saturday? When?
Nice.
Lunch?
Dinner. We're going out. Y'all are coming.
Oh yeah, duh, I'm coming for lunch. Do you want me to bring some of my beaver?
Huh?
You want to bring some of my beaver?
You have beaver?
Yeah.
That's the one. I have a whole beaver in there. Well, I did it breakfast, so.
You gave me my beaver that I brought to your house, the skin.
No, I didn't.
Huh?
It should still be here. I told you that you're going to use it to make that. I didn't give it to you.
This is exceptionally entertaining.
It really is.
1 year, 20%.
Wait. I grabbed it when I grabbed all my lamb stuff. I have it. I can bring it.
Yes.
You want some beaver?
I want the beaver that you left here back.
Why should I was my beaver? I didn't realize you put it all in one bag.
I told you what I was going to do with it. I said I was going to keep it and we were going to just cook it and share it.
Look, I forgot about this. Oops.
Yes.
Yeah, so I guess I'm having beaver on Saturday.
If you remember,
There you go.
Yeah.
we need to get it for you like Friday or something.
It's in the fridge.
Why is it in the fridge?
Because I was going to cook it last night, but I didn't.
Hazel, say goodnight, y'all.
Yeah.
Hazel.
He said goodnight. Mm-hmm. All right, have a good night. Love you. Oh boy.
We'll see. It all works out. We don't have to wait for it to frost.
Yeah, but that's Saturday.
Yeah, we took it out last night. It's still good.
Like, we had this conversation like multiple times.
I don't remember this.
Joshua, I think this may be the best content you've ever gotten for your channel.
Probably.
Wow.
Oh, that's fantastic.
It looks like I'm having beaver on Saturday, guys.
Well, there you go.
Heck yeah.
Sounds good to me. Oh, that was so funny.
I still need this skunk I call it.
No, you said you're going to do a skunk?
Yeah, I got a skunk in my freezer I need to eat.
Is skunk good?
I've heard it's very good.
Interesting.
I can imagine God making it delicious.
Everybody's like, oh, that's nasty because they stink. And it's like, but their stink's not in the meat. Comes out their butt.
I mean,
yep.
I would try it at least once. And if it's good, I would try it multiple times.
I only have one. I ate a crow. I've already had crow before, but I had a crow a couple weeks ago. Actually, in Oklahoma.
You know that's an idiom, right? Eating crow.
Huh?
Yeah.
You know? You've never heard that term, eating crow?
No.
Yeah.
It means to like take back your own words or to like admit you were wrong.
Like sticking your foot in your mouth is equivalent, right? If you stick your foot in your mouth, it's the same thing as eating crow.
Oh wow! I actually ate a crow, like literally speaking.
Yeah,
I've heard that crow is good as long as you cook it for long enough.
Alex, buddies. The crow. I mean, the way I cooked it last time, I just stuck it in a pan, seasoned it, and baked it for not like
crow is
20 minutes.
People eat lesser things.
Interesting.
I was surprised. I killed so many crows in my life. That's one bird I never would eat when I'd kill them, and then
I was like, let's eat it.
Okay, I'm like, all right, that's fine.
First time I ever tried crow, we caught it in one of our coyote traps.
Carrie killed it with a baseball.
I killed it with a baseball bat, and we were like, he was like, all right, we're gonna throw it. I said, man, I was like, well, I want to eat it. I want to eat it. And so we ended up eating it, and it was very good.
Okay, then.
nice.
Oh, almost.
Yeah, Alex. If I'm coming up to Oklahoma in a couple weeks, by the way.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, for Christmas time.
Oh, awesome.
If you want to try some crow.
I'm down.
I actually overcooked it the last time, so my wife and mother-in-law didn't like it too much. But
yeah. Are you coming after Christmas or before?
No, I'm coming day before Christmas Eve, and I'm staying. Look at the calculator. The calendar, not the calculator. You're right. So I'm coming on the 23rd and probably staying to the 28th.
Okay.
So it'll be the 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th, 27th, and 28th.
Okay. We have plans on the 27th up in Kansas. So we would have to family Christmas.
What are y'all doing? When are y'all leaving?
I'm not sure. I know we're not leaving.
Kansas isn't far from y'all. I forget
it's like 7 hours.
It's not like a 12-hour drive.
No.
Y'all going to the other side of Kansas then? If it's 7 hours, huh?
No, we're going to Southwest Kansas, and so it's all like state highways instead of interstate.
Okay, yeah.
It's
so when
the
are you
exact. I'm not sure. We need to coordinate that with other family members because we're going up with my grandparents.
Okay.
So
possibly Christmas Eve, maybe, if y'all aren't doing anything?
Yeah. I don't think we're doing anything Christmas Eve.
You'd have to come over to my in-laws' property to eat crow.
Yeah. Wait, we
live in the city and there's nowhere to shoot crows over where you live.
Yeah, we could probably do that. I don't see how that. I don't see that would be a problem.
You should see how many crows are there.
Oh, I'm sure.
Probably last time I walked the property, I probably saw like 50 to 60.
That
flying
doesn't
around.
surprise me at all.
Yep.
Nice.
But
that sounds fun.
I'm gonna blast some crows, some squirrels. The squirrels are so bad on my in-laws' property.
Mm-hmm.
It's stupid how many squirrels are out there.
Yeah, we have a lot of squirrels here.
Yeah, y'all daily bag limit is 24. Ours is 8 because y'all don't hunt squirrels over there, so they just populate.
Yep.
That's what everybody was telling me in Oklahoma. They're like, "Oh, well, the reason why it's like that, nobody hunts squirrels in Oklahoma apparently.
There's no limit.
That's why you get cats.
Yeah. Well, in Louisiana, everybody hunts squirrels. Like everybody.
Yeah.
Squirrel opening day, people take off work for that sometimes.
That's great. Y'all do Brunswick stew? Yeah. The old school way with the squirrel.
Back in the day, I don't know about Louisiana, but even still today, some schools and stuff close down for opening day of hunting season for certain animals.
Yep. Okay. I believe that.
Yeah.
I believe that.
Actually, in Brianna, my wife's hometown, they've got like 300 people. They close the school down for opening day of hunting season.
Deer season?
Yeah, deer season. They close.
Virginia, I think, is the state that they closed down for Dove when the Dove opener. All the schools close at like lunch because their Dove opener is like you can't shoot.
Yeah, until afternoon. Yeah.
Like, and so everybody takes off, goes eat lunch, has a big old gathering, and
then everybody goes squirrel hunting. I mean, dove hunting.
Goes just blasting doves.
Yep. What were you saying, Alex?
That's kind of great. So, did you say that there's only 300 people in Seminole, or are you saying like 300 people in school?
Actually, no. She's actually not from Seminole. Her hometown is actually Bowlegs, which is right south of Seminole.
Interesting.
There's 323 people in her hometown. I think.
I don't know what your cost material wise.
You know,
it probably costs like $80.
That's a very small. That's a very small hometown.
Yeah, it is a small hometown. Like the kids would go to school with their guns on racks in their trucks, like you would see back in the 80s. Yeah. What was it was the C10 that they used to sell that came with a hunting rifle?
Probably. Oh, there were so many.
Well,
Remington had made the deals with General Motors.
Yeah, so GM and Chevy, when you would buy a new truck back in, I believe, the 80s, early 80s, they would give you a free hunting rifle to go with it.
Yeah.
With a rack and everything to mount it.
I think you got the choice.
Yeah, it was something like that. But they would give you a gun with your
870, actually.
I don't know. I know.
It used to be a real country.
Yeah, back in the day. Proper nation, yeah. I think if they actually started doing that again, people would be more inclined to buy vehicles.
Especially in the rural areas, yeah.
Oh,
yeah. You're not wrong.
We got the discussion about guns and stuff, and because we're talking about the Old West and how crime was lower then, actually.
Crime was lower in the Old West, yeah.
What? So I started having a conversation. I was like, yeah, if I were in charge, I'd probably just be like, all right, you turn 18, here's your AR.
They're like, here's your free complimentary AR from turning 18.
Hard.
I've heard some conflicting information about like gun laws in the Old West. I mean, law would be a odd term to use there, but what I've heard is that in specifically like cities that were in the frontier, like Deadwood specifically, they actually had very strict codes.
There were
about
local ordinances against carrying guns openly now.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yes, that would be local town ordinances, and so. Actually, so gun control was actually on the rise in the Old West. It was less than the Dred Scott case was like the first case in American history with any kind of government gun control, and it was racist in origin.
Yeah.
So the whole point of the very first gun control in America was because they didn't want slaves getting guns, which was ridiculous because sadly, slaves often had guns. Many slaves were allowed to hunt and fish, but then when when they ended slavery, they suddenly decided that they didn't want freedmen having guns.
Well,
so the original gun
thinking
control
of it from a
laws
slave owner's perspective, like, of course you want your slaves to have guns. They're on the edges of your property. They're going to be able to protect, and if they pull in some extra meat, why not? Right? Like,
So what generally happened very frequently with large plantations. So you would have, and the term, it's hard to find anymore online because it's so sugar-coated and biased online. But they had what was called maroonages. So when you're a farmer, and I know some farmers and stuff like that, some really large farmers. You have times a year where you need a lot of workers. And then there's other times a year where there's not a lot to do. So lots of farmers in Louisiana would actually let their slaves leave during the dead season. And they would actually go live somewhere else for a time and then come back when it was time to get back to work on the plantation. And while they were on these maroonages, they hunted, they fished, they made music, they just kind of lived their lives, but then they came back, and that kind of just shows something that we don't like. It's kind of like a tough pill to swallow. How culturally ingrained this was. that they were slaves. They left for like 2 or 3 months and then came back when they were supposed to. And that's just like mind-boggling. But they had access to guns and stuff. Now, after the Haitian revolt, then that's when masters started getting really kind of worried about their slaves having guns. And they were like, yeah, they may try to kill us in our sleep or something if they have guns. And then they started getting harsher, and it led to a cyclical problem. As they got more vicious, slaves wanted to rebel more. And as they wanted to rebel more, people were worried more and got more vicious. And it was all kind of fuel for the fire for abolition.
Yeah.
Well, justifying war for abolition. There was already people who realized this is supposed to be a free country. Why do we allow it? But, Christian abolition versus violent abolition were two different things.
Was it John Brown?
John Brown.
There was a difference between your William Wilberforce and your John Brown.
Yes. William Wilberforce versus John Brown is exactly the point. So Christian abolitionists were losing ground because of the cycle of violence, and the call for violent abolition then increased. So your John Browns, your Abraham Lincolns,
Breaking news: TK had her protagonist kiss.
Woohoo!
What?
Writer friend of ours did a thing in her book.
Oh. Who's that?
TK in
Wilson.
the Brood.
She's in the Brewer.
Yeah.
Oh,
yes.
Is that Ian's sister?
Yes.
Yeah, it's no big deal.
Have
It
you,
doesn't go
have
anywhere
you met
until I
Mr.
edit it.
Wade? Joshua?
No, I haven't.
not met my dad.
No, we have not met yet.
Mr. Wade is fantastic.
that's right.
He sounds like it. He might even know, given the general circles. I was baptized by Joe Moorcraft. That name might ring a bell to you. What with all the stuff you're talking about, Civil War stuff. But he's a pastor in Atlanta area that's been around a long time, and he's talked on Civil War stuff and things like that a lot. So yeah, he's he's who I grew up under.
Okay.
Taking a more serious and academic turn, Mr. Wade unpacks the complex and often misunderstood history of slavery, the Islamic slave trade, and how middle-age monasticism began adding unbiblical requirements to the Christian life.
Cool. No, I'm not huge into the Civil War so much, but I'm an elementary history teacher.
Yeah,
And
gotcha.
So students have lots of questions about slavery, and also lots of misconceptions about specifically slavery. That when you act, and what people also fail to realize is that since the 1970s, there's been Marxist propaganda in our education system that has, kind of twisted the truth about what was really going on and, what was really happening and things like that. And when you go back and you study primary sources from this time period, have you ever read anything by Booker T. Washington?
Yeah.
Very eye-opening.
Yeah.
Very eye-opening. And I mean, this is an eyewitness to the events, a Christian eyewitness. So I trust a Christian's opinion more than I'm going to trust anybody else's.
A Marxist.
From that time. So his views are very different than what we're being told if you study the average history textbook. Don't get me wrong. Another thing I teach my students is that with lies, for a lie to be believable, it has to have a portion of the truth. So slavery was wrong. Slavery was bad. Lots of evil stuff happened. Some very, very evil stuff that I could not even think about talking about with children.
For real.
That occurred. And racism was a really serious problem. And segregation was wrong and stupid and things like that.
Yep.
But a lot of things are kind of glossed over. Like, for example, the fact that how come everybody think that slavery was about just skin color. What I try to get people to understand is slavery was not a result of racism. Racism was a result of slavery. The cause and effect is backwards. The very first slave owner in America came here from Angola. His name was Anthony Johnson. He was black. He was much darker skinned than his slave that was suing for his freedom.
I know all about him. Yeah.
Yeah. So slavery was made legal because of an African who refused to give up his slaves and took it to, and the slave took him to court, and he won the court case. And that set a precedent under common law, which forced slavery in the colonies.
It also broke the tradition of English common law, which is what Burke talks about.
Joe Morecraft, he actually had this is a slight tangent, but not really. It's the same topic. And then the one of the big misconceptions, of course, is, and obviously there's different levels of different people as slaves, but Joe Morecraft, the pastor I mentioned, who I grew up under, he had the privilege of having one of the last interviews with one of the very last surviving slaves of the Civil War era, when she was very, very old. And she was the reason she wasn't ever interviewed, hardly ever, was because she was one of the last surviving slaves from the Civil War, yes, but she was white.
Yeah, probably Irish.
Yeah, she was Irish, exactly. She was Scots Irish, and I've got Union folk in my family that come from the Ling side. That's my last name, Ling, Ling. It's German, it's Pennsylvania Dutch, whatever. But then I also have my dad's mom's side going back. It's pretty much all Melungeon. It's all mixed race, Cherokee and Irish especially, but I'm pretty sure there's some African in there as well. I'm still finding out all the details as best as I can, but that's really a hard thing to dig into, and DNA only gets you so far.
Right.
Especially with Cherokee, because they're finding out more and more their sample size of Cherokee really doesn't actually tell historical Cherokee. Because of the way the genetics have changed. And so a lot of people who are Cherokee end up showing up as African American because of the Melungeon mix. So yeah.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, I got so much Scots Irish all the way to the core. It's ridiculous, and just various Melungeon. I was talking to Carrie about it the other day, and it's like, we're cousins in that we got that Scots Irish thing going on. There's also the French thing going on in various cases, but like different French, different times. But the Appalachian Mountains, the Melungeons and all that group, and then like the swamp pirates and stuff, and then the various Caribbean areas in the southeast besides the Appalachian Mountains and everything. It's really, really interesting. The areas of the United States that are more well mixed than others are always the ones with less race issues.
We're mutts.
Yeah.
It's always funny.
It's all show different. It's really funny, Josh. Me and all my siblings all show like complete different ethnicities in our like the way we look. Like I inherited more of the Spanish look. My sister inherited more of
my Spanish ancestry.
The Native American look,
including being short.
Yeah.
Hello, Abby.
Yeah, I would have killed you.
Hello.
Hello.
How's it going for you tonight, Abby?
Randomly and record it and post podcast.
He does it every week. He does it. I think this week he's doing 3 of them. But then he has
Mr. Wade, you know the Inklings, C.S. Lewis, J.R.R. Tolkien, all those guys?
I'm very familiar with Tolkien. I read a significant amount of C.S. Lewis, but I'm more of a Tolkien kind of fan. Yes.
Yeah. So we're trying to do the Inklings thing, but online, basically. That's what these meetings are. and I record them, and I have a podcast called Poets at War, and I slowly put them up through that. But I also have my Patreon and Substack where I put them up a little bit quicker after I've edited out anything that people want left out, and I basically just throw them up there.
Like me asking Carrie for the trapping advice.
Well,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Legal trapping advice.
I've
boy,
on dead raccoons and stuff on there, which he's edited out. I think.
Yeah.
I put a picture on this last one. I actually took a AI image of a sad illustration of a sad raccoon and placed it over where he showed us the dead raccoon.
I was like, I can't show this on video, and Josh was like, I'll edit it out, and I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah. Shouldn't be a big deal to show a dead raccoon on video.
Yeah, people get offended though.
I agree.
Well, if you're not offending people, are you doing anything good in today's culture?
Oh man.
I offend people on the verb.
So yeah, like I was talking about, like Anthony Johnson. It was right after the Charlie Kirk assassination, and I was so fed up of wokeness. And normally, I always talk about how Anthony Johnson was from Africa, but this year I was like, I say it, but the students don't necessarily. It doesn't click. So this year I was like, I'm just going to show him his picture.
Yeah,
this is the first slave owner in America, and they were like, oh. It's like, yes, this is the slave. Oh, and the first white slave owner was Pocahontas' husband.
Right.
I didn't know that.
Yes, the first white slave owner in America was Pocahontas' husband, John Rolfe. He brought 19. He purchased 19 African slaves from the Dutch.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yep.
And yes, Pocahontas, when she went to England, did own slaves. I had a student shocked by that one this year too. Like, wait, why'd she own slaves? I was like, because she owned slaves. But she's like I know what you're saying.
Native American. Well, that's the thing.
Native Americans own tons of slaves.
Each other.
The biggest slave trade organization, though, in human history is Islam. Nothing's even close.
We had a conversation about Islam the other day.
Nothing is even close. The Atlantic slave trade is a joke compared to the Islamic slave trade.
Yep.
Well, I was actually researching it. It's like
we get the word Slavic because that entire part of the world was enslaved by Muslims.
Yeah.
Like that whole ethnicity are called slaves because they were enslaved by the Ottomans.
So, Mr. Wade, I have a question for you on the history of this. What I've heard is that during particularly the Middle Ages, whenever you have like the height of Christendom, in the West, slavery kind of dies out because Christianity leads to freedom for its people because the truth sets you free. But it was reintroduced as Islam made inroads into Europe because Islam means submission. It's about domination. It's about exerting will or the will of Allah. So is that historically speaking correct?
Give me a second to process the question because
what was the question?
About if at the height of Christianity, slavery was kind of less. Okay, so here's the problem with the question. That word slavery, there are many different forms of what is classified as slavery. So under Christianity, the idea of chattel slavery, humans are legally property. That technically did not really exist as much under the height of Christianity. However, perpetual debt slavery, peasants who were treated as basically perpetual slaves, but not legally considered property, did actually become very common in the Middle Ages. However, there was still a lot of liberty for peasants. As a matter of fact, peasants worked really hard. Serfs were tied to the land, so biblically, peasants would be considered slaves. Biblically, serfs would be considered slaves. Biblically, hey, you want a really eye-opener? Biblically, we're all slaves.
If you're working for a wage, you're a slave.
No, if the government feels like it can just take however much of your property as it wants without any kind of compensation in return, then that means that the government feels it owes your labor, which biblically defines you as a slave.
We don't ever own.
So biblically,
Fair
we're
enough.
all slaves. We're all slaves because our government taxes us at like 40%. Which is way beyond what is allowed biblically. So when you say slave, chattel slavery under Middle Ages Christianity was not really a thing widespread. They did have some nuanced slavery, such as prisoners of war. Like in the Navy, particularly, they would kidnap people from other countries and force them to be basically or slaves, which was a very brutal life. That was Christians did that. It was generally prisoners of war. Kind of going back to the few references in scripture where you have lifelong slavery in the Old Testament was prisoners of war. So they would take prisoners of war as slaves. And generally they would be what they call, I was trying to remember the term, galley slaves is what they called them.
Yeah.
So you basically were, you were going to row a boat until you died or they decided to let you go or someone ransomed you. There was also conscription, which can also be technically today it's considered slavery that occurred. Peasants, serfs, biblically would probably be considered slaves. But chattel slavery, the degrading of human to the status of property, for just a general population was not a thing under Middle Ages Europe.
Okay.
And there was also a lot more opportunity for like debt slavery that was actually debt slavery that was going to help you not be a debt slave anymore was very common in the monasteries. So there were opportunities to get out of debt biblically as a debt slave. When you talk about like a lot of the monasteries, the problem here's where I get the Middle Ages went off. When you add to the law, it tends to create a disrespect of the law. And when you create a disrespect of the law, it produces lawlessness as a response. You following that?
Yeah.
So monks added all these rules that weren't biblical, like celibacy and stuff like that, to their piety. So they added rules that were not in the Bible.
Yeah.
When you do that, the gospel is, I'm just using simple terms here. The gospel is trust Jesus, right? In the simplest terms, trust Jesus, not you. Don't trust yourself. Trust Christ. Trust his righteousness. Trust his will. Trust his knowledge, his wisdom, not your own. So when you either add to or take away from the law, you're putting your trust in yourself. And that's what a lot of the problem was in the Middle Ages. In an attempt to be zealous, they added to the law and continuously added more and more and more requirements. Now, requirements and tools aren't the same. So, for example, Benedict had his ideas about his tools for balancing academic learning, physical work, and liturgy, right?
Yeah.
And those were tools. So they're not like added to the law. They're a tool. Like the liturgical year is a tool. All these hymns we've written throughout history, they're tools. It's when you start saying, thou must do these things, that you've made it law. And when you make it law, then it's not scriptural law. It's not required of you in scripture. You're putting your trust in yourself. You're not putting your trust in Christ's righteousness or Christ's law. You're saying your law is insufficient. I need to add these things to it. Not application, but adding to the law. And I think that's really where Christianity went way off course in the Middle Ages is all the things they added to the law. They added dietary laws. They added worship laws. They added worship requirements. They added celibacy requirements. And those things perverted Christian freedom.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there's my tangent.
After a quick check-in on an intense game of Lord of the Rings Risk with Abby, Joshua addresses the elephant in the room, the rising tension within the brood over AI. He issues a heartfelt call to lay down the hatchets and find unity and grace among fellow creators.
You asked me one
Abby,
question.
how are you doing? What's going on with you? If you are able to unmute. If you're not, we'll move on. But yeah, I was just trying to give you a space to talk if you want to. Abby, if you're doing well and want to talk.
Hi.
What's been going on? You doing all right?
Yeah, not a lot. I just accidentally closed Discord in an attempt to unmute myself.
I gotcha.
We've all done it.
So what's been going
on? Not a lot. Trying to finish a game of Risk with my siblings sometime this week.
Who's winning?
So far, I am.
What's your position like?
I own 57 out of 64 territories.
Oh, dang.
Or how many territories are... No, there's only 60 territories. Yeah.
You own 57 of the 60 territories?
Yeah.
Dang. Okay, so you're about to win.
Yeah, but I'm taking a break for tonight because I don't really feel like trying to break into the one stronghold.
Who's this?
Where's their stronghold?
Well, my brother took Rivendell from me, and he's got like 11 battalions.
That's Alex's group of friends.
I don't know.
Okay.
He's got a leader and extra battalions there, and I'm like,
got it.
But I've only got 3 guys left.
Okay. Alcohol content can actually be up to 0.02.
Oh.
What?
Oh, cool. Carrie's having his own conversation. He talked about...
I'm not.
My bad. Sorry.
Wait, hold on. I'm trying to figure out.
Not your bad at all.
Who is this?
This is
Abby Adams? Adams?
Yes.
No. Yes. Okay, cool.
Oh. Hello. Very cool. I love a good game of Risk.
Yeah, we got a Lord of the Rings Risk game, so that's really awesome.
Yeah. Is it the Trilogy edition or the Fellowship edition?
I'm not sure.
Is there Mordor on the map?
It's the Trilogy edition.
It's the Trilogy edition?
Yeah. I'm playing the yellow elves army. So I'm really mad that my brother with the Black Orc army broke into Rivendell. So,
yeah.
So I'm like, why are there Nazguls in Rivendell?
Exactly, yes.
This wasn't in the book.
Yeah, and then the other orcs are holed up in Lothlorien. That's my sister. The red ones. So I'm just like, dude. But granted, Mordor is overrun with elves.
That is true. However, the elves will do significantly less in the way of improving Mordor than the orcs will do defiling Rivendell and Lothlorien.
Yeah, so I'm gonna probably take care of that tomorrow after work.
Good plan. I love a good game of Risk. That's the game that my dad and I play together.
Same. We don't usually put the ring on there. Usually we just play until somebody takes over the world.
Yep. That I mean, it's real tough to improve on the basic rule set of Risk. Mm-hmm. It's such a good game.
Mm-hmm.
I was playing a game with a couple of friends of mine and my dad, actually, and one of my friends went from having he had 5 cards, and so he had to turn in. This is regular risk. Had 5 cards, so he had to turn in. But he only had 4 territories in South America.
Okay.
He wiped me out of Africa, took my cards, turned those cards in after turning his cards in.
Wow.
I had 5 cards as well. So he had to turn in 2 sets to get down.
Oh.
He then bulldozed my other friend, actually my brother-in-law, out of Europe and took his cards and turned in again. And then he bulldozed his brother through Upper Asia and and took his cards, turned in again, and then bulldozed my dad out of Australia and North America and won in one single turn.
Wow.
It was astounding. It went from everybody being in the game who started it to him winning.
Wow. I've come back from like 3 territories before, but never quite so incredibly.
Joshua does not enjoy board games. He is not a board game enjoyer.
It sounds more like
it is only because of past trauma. I have very passionate siblings.
That is fair.
And the eldest usually gets beat up upon whenever there's a fight that breaks out, because then people go whining to mom and dad, and then the eldest gets in trouble.
Yeah. Joining a board game is like joining a temporary cult. So,
I mean, whatever.
It's a very fun temporary cult, but a temporary cult it remains.
I like certain I was just going to say, I like certain party games, and I do really actually love more freestyle roleplay kind of stuff. The less math, the better for me. So, but yeah.
I've dealt with the sibling thing. The oldest of 5 here, and we've been playing board games for a long time. It's you can see when the youngest ones are hitting their point where like they can't lose anymore. Or if they're winning and you're like, bro, I don't do this when you're winning.
Yeah, for real.
But I don't do this when I'm winning. But everybody's pretty good so far. Getting there better. That makes it fun when everyone
very cool
matures.
Yep. I picked up a board game at a garage sale up in Missouri called Campaign Politics that appears to be a board game that was designed in the 80s specifically for colleges' poli-sci classes to teach people how campaign politics works.
That sounds interesting.
It is. I haven't played it yet.
It doesn't sound incredibly riveting, but maybe it's fun.
Yeah, I haven't played it yet, so I don't know. But I
have
figured
either of you guys go ahead.
I figured I'm never going to have a chance to buy this game ever again, and it was like $1.50, so I bought it.
Have either of you all played Twixt?
I think my family has. I have not.
Let me see if I'm trying to see if I can. Let's just copy the link here. Copy link. And throw it in the chat here. This is a why is it going to a PHP page? Okay, whatever. Anyway, you can see what it is, but basically it's an old board game. I think it was created in the 70s. I got it from I'm not related to this person, so when I say my cousin's uncle, I don't mean my uncle. My cousin's uncle on his, other side that I'm not related to him on. And I loved it so much that I asked if I could have it, and we kept it for a while and played it. But basically, you have these pegs that go in a board, and then you have these bridge pieces, and the bridge pieces can bridge the gap between the pegs, and the idea is to bridge all the way across on one axis, and the other player is trying to bridge across on the other axis. And so basically, like, it's almost like checkers or chess or that sort of a thing mixed with like tic-tac-toe kind of. It's very weird, but
interesting.
I always really enjoyed it for just a very simple, like, I immediately know what I'm supposed to do in this game sort of, you know, checkers chess alternative. It's a lot of fun. And you get to block, you know, because you can't take away someone's bridge or anything like that. So there's blocking involved with all that kind of stuff. And so, yeah.
It looks kind of fun.
Yeah. I mean, you immediately know what you're supposed to do. Like, it's not complicated. So, yeah. Yep. I always enjoyed it.
There we go. I had to figure out how to close the window.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it looks pretty fun. I used to think of Sieja, but I don't know if you guys know it.
I don't think I've played that one.
I forget how to play it. It was a board game my grandpa made. Well, he made a board for it, and him and my mom used to play it with two different colored marbles. It was like checkers, where you're trying to get everybody else's pieces off the board and get yours in the center, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I can't quite remember. But it was similar like to that.
Very cool.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't know. We have the board for it somewhere, but obviously they didn't make it up. He just made a board for it.
Yeah.
So Abby, I think the last time you talked creative stuff, you were taking a break. If that's what I remember correctly, is that true, or am I wrong?
Not so much a break as just kind of dithering about.
Dithering about, yeah. How's your dithering? Have you dithered anything lately?
I am wondering whether I should continue writing.
Writing period, or writing the specific thing that you're working on?
In general.
I gotcha. What would you do otherwise?
I guess
if you're still creating.
Probably knitting, crocheting, painting stuff.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, very cool. I've always enjoyed your writing. Do you feel like you're just too critical of your own writing, or?
I just don't know if it's like the right thing for me to be doing right now.
I understand that. And it might come back around. Who knows?
Probably the thing I enjoy most.
Writing is the thing you enjoy most? Is that what you said?
Probably, yeah.
Then why stop?
Kind of a moral dilemma. I don't know if I could continue doing it or not. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Huh. Okay. Well, if you don't want to go into that, that's totally fine, but I am interested. And if I can help you, you know, off recording at some point, I'd love to. Totally up to you. But yeah. The stuff going on with so we'd had Broodcast scheduled for this past month and we didn't get anybody, and a lot of that's because Black Friday, but we've had good Black Fridays before. It was just kind of odd. Everyone's very busy with work and other sorts of things. It seems to be just a very busy season for folks. Tonight we have go ahead.
I had meant to join Black Friday. I don't know what happened. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, you continue.
Oh, it's all good. I was just thinking about it too, because I still have a lot of recordings and stuff, and Poets at War isn't going to be lacking. But it was just one of those things where I'm like, you know, Brendan brought up tonight, no one shares their stuff. You know, everyone's and Brendan's frustrated with that. Other people are frustrated with not enough relaxation from the art, and I'm trying to gauge what's going on in general in the Brood, and it's just kind of hard right now. I think it's a lot of various traumas surrounding holidays for people, along
Definitely
with
my fault.
Oh, it's totally your fault, Carrie. You just
Yep, absolutely your fault.
I'm just saying, I've started like eight fights in the past like 3 days.
Dude, we needed it. It was
What did we
good.
fight,
Yeah.
did we? Was that a fight?
No, we didn't really fight. No, it's just
No,
Ian gets his feathers ruffled.
it wasn't Ian. I don't think
It was Michael.
Was it Ian? Not
It was Michael.
Oh, it was Michael this time.
It was Michael this time.
Yeah, it was Carrie saying that Muslims should be expelled from the United States.
Oh,
And
yeah,
Michael
that
saying
one. Yep.
that actually curtails like religious freedom and all that jazz.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean,
Right.
It's exclusively
kind of.
Israel did not apply to Mohammedans. They're Muslims at the time.
Yes.
Religious freedom is what we would call denomination today.
Yep.
Correct.
I already had this conversation with Anna.
You can be Catholic, Baptist, Reformed, Presbyterian, even Quakers were fine. Anything of the Judeo-Christian value spectrum.
Yep.
Muslims were our firstborn war. It lasted longer than most people realize.
Well, my argument one of my arguments was less than 100 years before the founding fathers basically started America, we were still fighting Muslims in Europe. Yeah.
Well, when I was talking,
We fought them as Americans. We fought the Barbary pirates.
They were fighting the Barbary pirates even during the American Revolution.
Yeah.
Well, this is the thing with
like how do in this modern enlightened age, how do these barbarians even exist? Like,
right. Yeah. Well, with the thing, basically, I got Michael to admit that he wants to essentially. He can appreciate historical context, but he has a limited scope for its purpose in the current situation, and wants to look at the current situation.
Important. It's just fun.
Right. Yeah. And so basically,
I know someone else that probably uses that idea. I think Satan would very much agree that history's not important.
Michael is great. Michael is really fun, and he's crazy smart. As a hobby,
he is, actually,
he read every single constitution that has been written in the world. He just did that for fun. Like he's crazy smart, to his own detriment often, because he lacks context for a lot of it, because he has his very hyper focused things that he is crazy intelligent on, and then he has everything else that he doesn't acknowledge as important, including history.
Well, he's a statistician basically, and he argues. Right, he argues things with numbers, and that's the way he does things. But in getting him to admit that, I felt like we won, Carrie, as far as our argument was concerned, and we didn't even need to push it any further. You know what I mean? Like, he said his piece, he said his opinion, and even framed it as opinion instead of fact. And so
it was a really good debate, honestly. I mean, it lasted the entire day. Like, it lasted the entire day. I drive all day. Okay, so while I'm driving, I'm just like voice to text everything.
Oh man,
fun.
But the as far as Brood goes, though, like I'm just trying to figure out what people are needing right now. I feel like the biggest thing is an open door and some pushing to try and get people to share their art more, because like that's been a common thing that has actually pulled us together in most cases, even when people are having issues with it. Like you said, you have moral issues going on with you, Abby. TK randomly has issues. Ian randomly has issues. Brendan's always fighting the time, issues and whatever else. Yep. And then there's the all-important AI thing that everyone, either jumps down my throat on or other people or whatever else. And it's like, I just want to share what we imagined, whatever it is, and however we made it. As long as it's not against God's law entirely, as far as like explicit commands, and like critique it and take it as it is. You know, my whole thing is I could take all of the critique on the AI stuff, but the fact that it makes people angry enough to entertain leaving the brood, there's a problem with that.
Yeah.
You know, like we've been through so much, all of us, and I just don't know what to do in regard to that. And I feel like everyone's kind of Mexican standoffing for no reason. Everyone in some level is where Ian is. Ian's just the most like overt of the situation. Because he'll talk about it and stuff, but like
I disagree that everyone is there. But yes, you are correct. Most all of the brood are variations of Ian's opinion on that.
Well, not just that, but like just various things, and everyone's Mexican standoffing, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know what to do about it, other than to continue doing what we're doing and talking and doing all that. I don't think anyone's really actually of varying different opinion. I feel like it's the mind virus of media that everyone's kind of getting. Personally, you know, everyone gets media of some level, whether it's social media or mainstream media or other media or whatever it is, and there's just so much going on in the world that everyone's kind of just reaching for their hatchet 24/7, and I just want to be like, yo, let's stop that for a minute. Yeah, we disagree on a lot of stuff, but we agree that we all love C.S. Lewis, J.R.R. Tolkien, and the Lord above all else. So can we work together?
Yep.
You know?
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't know. If you guys have any ideas on that, let me know. But that's and this is something that happens, something I notice, and it's usually around full moons. And it's usually around periods of big economic strain and or upheaval. And I just want to be like, hey, focus up. Let's go. Come on, right here. We're gonna get through this because we always do. You know, you all have gotten me through all of that over and over and over and over again. Alex can tell you all about that. He's dealt with it on the very ground level with me before.
Yep.
He has an entire collection, my dad's entire collection of Phil Kagi, because he bailed me out of a situation and bought those from me a while ago. And so, like, you know, we always get through this. And I guess the ultimate thing I'm trying to say is lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So, you know, I get that people have all the feelings, but I am not the AI goblin who's going to cause the uprising, and I think everybody knows that, whether they like the AI or not. I know that Ian, for all his pretense, is a great artist with a great imagination who isn't actually pretentious because he likes He-Man.
Yup.
You know what I mean? Like we all have our idiosyncrasies, but it's like, come on, guys, let's stick together.
Yep.
We can do this.
Ian is pretentiously pulpy.
Yes.
Which is a contradiction in terms, but
yes, and that's why
what
I love
he
him.
is. Oh. Yep.
That is why I love Ian.
Ian is fantastic.
Oh man.
So
did you ever? Yeah, go ahead.
Wrapping up this massive transmission, the group tackles the confusing baptism for the dead passage in 1 Corinthians. From there, they triangulate their theological heroes and debate the cultural impact of historical giants like Jonathan Edwards, Oliver Cromwell, and J.R.R. Tolkien's true feelings on the assembly line.
Shifting gears, our Thursday night group is about to finish up 5 Lies of Our Anti-Christian Age.
Okay.
And after that, we are doing 1 Corinthians. Do you have any thoughts on 1 Corinthians that would be helpful for like a study? Because I'm going through Calvin's commentary Clark's commentary, which is extremely unhelpful because it's either way too brief to actually help, or it's all translation notes, effectively.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying. At least of what I've read so far. And then Matthew Henry's commentary as well.
Are you looking for text, audio, or both, or do you not care because you can transcribe it and digest it?
I don't care.
Okay. Well, I know Joe's preached on it.
Yeah.
So I figure you could probably...
Would that be in audio?
Yeah, just sermon audio, go there and find where he's preached on it. I remember a sermon series on it, but I don't remember much about it. I remember it was good. It always is.
Yeah.
But you could go look up Joe Morecraft on sermon audio and figure out. I would do whatever the last one he did on 1 Corinthians was and go with that. Not that he changes much in the recordings that are up there over the years, but either do that or do like the longest one,
Yeah.
A series, and you should get what you're looking for more than likely. So
I listened through Jordan's lectures on 1 Corinthians.
Mm-hmm.
That was terribly interesting. It was,
sure it was
very, very good. So like the baptism for the dead passage in 1 Corinthians.
Right.
How have you heard that explained before? Because I've always just seen theologians walk away with their hands up in the air, just like, no, man. That's a weird one.
I'm trying to find the passage. I probably will have my answer when I actually look at it. 1 Corinthians 15:29. It's been a while since I've done a study on 1 Corinthians, to be honest with you. Let's see here. 15. So I'm gonna look at it NASB and look at 29. Just look at the context around it as well. But let's see. For otherwise, what will those do who are baptized for the dead? If the dead are not raised at all, why then are they baptized for them? Why are we also in danger every hour? Okay, so let's see. But when he says all things are put in subjection, it is clear that this excludes the Father, who put all things into subjection to him. When all things are subjected to him, then the Son himself will also be subjected to the one who subjected all things to him, so that God may be all in all. For otherwise, what will those do who are baptized for the dead? If the dead are not raised at all, then why are they baptized for them? Why are we also in danger every hour? I affirm, brothers and sisters, by the boasting in you, which I have in Christ Jesus our Lord, that I die daily. If from human motives I fought with wild beasts at Ephesus, what good is it to me? If the dead are not raised, let's eat and drink, for tomorrow we die. Do not be deceived. Bad company corrupts good morals. Sober up morally and stop sinning. I know Joe talked on this, and I know I have a stance on this from that, but I'm not remembering it off the top of my head. The most that I'm thinking at this point is he's going to tie it to the psalm that says, what is it? How can the dead praise you? And he's going to tie it to the other passages where, especially like Hebrews, where it talks about how the Old Testament saints were saved through Christ. And basically, like, one thing I know he's going to mention is for otherwise, meaning, so the previous paragraph section is going to say, to the one who subjected all things to him, so that God may be all in all, for otherwise. Right. So if God not be all in all, what good will it do for whatever he's saying here? Right. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there's going to be grammatical stuff here from Joe. There's going to be pointing to those passages that I mentioned, and he's going to tie it together in a generally clear way. That's what I can pretty much guarantee.
So Jordan's take is that baptism for the dead refers to the ceremonial washings of uncleanliness in the Old Testament.
Okay.
Because whenever you come across a dead body, you have to be washed in order to be considered ritually clean again.
Right. I could see that.
Which makes a lot of sense. Like it makes
sense, yeah.
Makes a lot more sense than just walking away with your hands up.
Well, baptism is very clearly like a washing, like we've talked about. It's a washing of the sins away. It's the washing of literal germs as well as sins in the Old Testament. They had their way of doing things, and they some of it was prescribed and some of it wasn't, just depending on the situation. Some of it was rabbinical, some of it was actual, Old Testament law. And so basically, like any washings being tied to baptism that were ceremonial in nature, I don't necessarily have a problem with. Obviously, like Paul's talking about the dead as in the Old Testament. I think it's clear Paul's talking, when he says the dead in this, he's referring to Old Testament saints in some way, shape, or form. I think that's clear, based on the context. But outside of that, like I said, I know that I have something on this. I would have to find the Joe Morecraft sermon and look at it and see, and then retest it via scripture and see if it still stands for me. But I don't think it would contradict Jim Jordan in this case. It might be a yes and, Yeah. Because that's not out there. That's not one of Jim Jordan's more out there things.
Yeah, it's really not.
No, not at all.
From what I have read,
Abby, just so you know, feel free to jump in at any point.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know you're here like listening and stuff, but like feel free to jump in with anything.
Questions, comments, concerns, snide remarks,
stuff to share, any side tangents, I'm happy with.
Well, I don't have anything on topic at the moment.
Okie doke. Well, you can do off topic too. That's totally up to you if you feel left out. So I'm just letting you know. Don't feel left out, please.
No.
Okay. All right. You can go ahead, Alex.
Yeah. I from what I have read / listened to of Jordan, he strikes me as eminently understandable, even whenever I disagree with him, which is odd because, like, I've heard a lot of people who talk about Jim Jordan act like he's not, like he's on a different plane of like theology. I'm like, even when he's wrong, like I totally understand everything that he's saying and it makes sense.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is you are just intellectually on a different level than a lot of people, but you do touch ground. You are able to talk on a very low or high level. You have quite the dynamic range intellectually. And so for me, like, I think he's just similar to you and you're able to follow his logic easily. For me, he's never been hard. There's been some things where I'm like, where did you get that? I'm not connecting the dots, but that's rare. When I do read him and read his stuff, it always makes sense, to me. But like, I have no problem. And the other thing is, he's very much that CREC thing of like, I want to be practical with all my theology, so I'm trying to draw out implications in every single thing that I posit. So to me, that's easier to understand in general than someone who's way up in the clouds with something super, super lapsarian, whatever.
Yeah.
Right. And so like, I understand. I have nothing against Jim Jordan. He's got some stuff I disagree with. Obviously, I can't even think of it off the top of my head. He's just like, one of those high church CREC guys. And I'm like, yeah, no, I like those guys. And I feel like I agree with them more than I don't. And when we actually talk, it's like, y'all didn't actually change anything other than the way you worded this.
Yep. Yeah. Scott and Jesse ended up getting into. So Dante was asking about pedobaptism in the castle.
Yeah, I remember
server.
hearing about all this. Yeah, I remember hearing about all of this. Yeah.
Like the difference between, and Jordan even says as much in his lectures on 1 Corinthians, the difference between the classical Calvinists and the Federal Vision guys. I heard Scott referred to them as the Augustinians, but they're not classical Augustinians either. So I think Federal Vision is a good moniker. The difference between the classical Calvinists and the Federal Vision guys is not that the Federal Vision guys disagree with the Calvinists. They look at everything that the Calvinists say and they say, cool, God's told us all of this. We accept all of it is 100% true. We're now going to take that, put it in a box marked the things of God, and now we're going to deal with what we actually need to worry about, which is covenant.
Right.
And I think that that's where so much of the disagreement happens, because the Federal Vision guys are so caught up in like the immediate practicality of like, okay, what does this mean for the church? What does this mean for life? How do we interact with the covenant? How does God interact with us specifically? All of that. And they're so worried about that, as they should be, because that's arguably more important. That they end up completely talking past the Calvinists who are saying like, but God predestined everything, and who he wants to save, he will save. And if God says you're saved, you can't walk away from that. And Jordan has a one-off line in the 1 Corinthians lectures where he's saying like, Calvinists will say, da 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 da. And of course they're correct, but that's the stuff of God. So let's put that on the shelf and let's deal with what God told us to deal with, which is covenant. And then continues on.
Yeah. Well, this is why you're no more full-on high church Augustinian, whatever you want to call it, CRAC, really truly oatmeal stout. Like, you are oatmeal stout, but you're not truly TM oatmeal stout, and I'm not truly TM Westminsterian Calvinist, whatever. I'm somewhere between. If I was to triangulate my theological stances as far as my faith goes, I would say I am somewhere in between the triangle of Patrick, Knox, and John Newton.
That's certainly an interesting triangle.
Yes, it is.
I mean, so you've got Patrick, who stands in for just like basic down the line missional orthodoxy. Would you say that that's fair?
Ecclesiastical confederacy.
Is that Patrick?
Yes.
Okay. Because I would say I would have put ecclesiastical confederacy under Knox.
But it also falls under Patrick, because while there is some evidence to suggest that some of the monasticism of early Ireland involved Patrick in the early days, generally speaking, you've got to understand the through line of Patrick's succession came to Columba, who had his war basically that he started and then relented and was sad about, because there were monks that were essentially trying to take over the churches. There was this very Protestant-y kind of congregational sort of mindset. It wasn't congregational, it was Presbyterian, but you get the point. They had no connection to Rome. They had no connection, in those regards, and Rome was trying to get more connection. And that ultimately culminated in what we've talked about at Fight Laugh Feast, where the High King and the Patrick's, the Church of the Coldees, was killed off by William the Conqueror's people. Pressing west during the Second Crusade. Like that's how they died. But those people, they did have fellowship with the churches in Wales, like Caedmon's church and all of those. And so, but Patrick was really the one who kind of started that, because he's coming from England that is more Roman at that period, and he's establishing a church that is outside of the patristic kind of orthodoxy connection, because they're way out in the middle of nowhere among the barbarians, and they're doing their thing, and you constantly had this friction up until, so Patrick really did start, like, no, like, if the gospel is sufficient, then it can go out on its own. Right. At least for evangelization. So yes, you've got that with Patrick. You've also got that with Knox for sure, because Reformation, but
well, that's what I was saying. Like, Patrick represents a very, very, like, bog standard missional orthodoxy. Like,
yes,
the gospel is repent, repent and believe, be baptized for your sins. That's what Patrick
down with the
taught.
false gods. down with the false gods.
Yeah. That's what Patrick taught. That's what Patrick
also
stood
don't
for.
throw the baby out with the bathwater. That was another major thing for Patrick, right? We need to have the stories and keep the stories, so we know what we came from, so we can spot the differences and the similarities. Knox, this is a teaching moment.
So Knox stands for I want to say maybe like zeal or passion.
Anti-tyranny.
Zeal, passion, anti-tyranny.
Speaking
like love of place.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that goes with zeal.
Yeah. Love of place. That's a good one.
Love of place and a true level of intellectualism. Scholasticism is loaded in theological circles, but like in a purely definitional sense, scholasticism, like knowing what you believe, studying, and making sure that you have all of the facts and can argue for what you're saying. Like what is it? What's the term? It's not evangelism. It's apologetics.
Yes.
Like
very much so. Yes.
That's what Knox stands for. I don't know what you're saying whenever you say Newton, because Newton was just like your like standard Baptist evangelical, right?
No, Newton was Anglican. He was an Anglican minister. He, of course, had his whole experience of, the slave trade, and then, came off of that and became a minister and was an abolitionist that helped and was a friend of William Wilberforce. I don't know if you ever knew that they know each other.
I've read Metaxas's biography of Wilberforce. I'm familiar with the broad strokes of Newton's life. I'm just not sure what you're standing.
What I'm referring to?
Yeah, like where. Like what specifically about Newton is standing out to you as that triangulation?
The fact that he's written like freaking hundreds of hymns that were mostly just one-offs that he specifically wrote to sing after his sermons so that people would get the full point of it. He was not precious about his poetry. He was straightforward and to the point, and he wanted everything that he taught to stick in the hearts of people, and that went all the way down to his abolitionism. It was this heart-focused, like, I'm trying to teach you something that I've learned the hard way so you don't have to.
So primarily his like theologically rich hymnody is what you're saying is like his triangulation point.
Which I think is entirely within the scope of, and I would say Caedmon in that triangle somewhere, except for the fact that Caedmon really fits I think very neatly between Patrick and Newton, because they like Newton was not a literal second coming, but a second coming of cavemen in a lot of ways.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't disagree with that triangulation for you. Like that makes sense. All of those, I can see all of those points in what you aspire to be. So
yeah. I'm not sure where your triangle would end up yet, or if it's still in flux.
I mean, let's see here. And
do the full gambit. Don't just be like 3 CREC guys, because I know you better than that.
I'm not gonna do 3 CREC guys. I'm not gonna do any CREC guys. Actually, I don't think that's like you chose historical examples. I should be choosing historical examples as well.
Fair enough.
I see a lot of myself in Dr. Grant's description of Jerome, because in the Canon app, whenever they're doing the early church biographies conference, Dr. Grant takes on Jerome, and he says that you see a lot of similarities in the early church fathers. They were all very driven to preach the truth and to find unity wherever they could, and to build coalitions around the truth of the scripture.
Right.
Jerome doesn't do any of that. Jerome is just a jackass.
Yes.
He doesn't say he doesn't say in as many words, but he's like, Jerome is just a really, really awful person who was saved by the gospel and realized he was awful and was also very smart.
Right.
I see a lot of myself in Jerome.
So I was going to go early church fathers. I would have said Athanasius.
I don't know. I don't. We really only have like one book and one story about Athanasius, right?
That's fair. But I immediately think of him because like all the smart people are like reaching out the door at Nicaea and whatnot, being like, or whatever it was, where they were saying like, bro, they just said this. What should we do?
Yeah, that's okay. That's fair. I understand that.
Anyway, go ahead with yours. You're defining this here.
So I'd say Jerome is like my pick for early church. Reformation. I really want to be Bucer. I really, really, really want to be Bucer. That like if I was anywhere close to any of the reformers, that's the one I want to be, because he's so cool. He's such a cool guy. He's the party animal of the Reformation. He's the guy who's making all of the connections and saying, okay, yeah, Puritan, you need to come over here and meet Calvin. Calvin, you need a wife. You're going to come over here. Like all that. I love that. I want to be that person. So aspirationally, I'm going to say Bucer. Based on my disposition, I think it would be I feel like most people would put me in a box with Calvin, though.
Yeah, I could see that.
But I really want to be Bucer.
Yeah.
So that's my aspiration. Do you know where I can find any Martin Bucer books? Because I can only find one. I checked archive.org and I didn't find, no, I checked Project Gutenberg and I didn't find a single one. which kind of shocked me because Project Gutenberg is massive.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to look around.
So I want to find some of his stuff and read it. And
oh yeah, here you go. This archive.org is the place to go, apparently.
Okay, fantastic.
I found like 6-7 of them already.
Any of them on audio?
Doesn't look like. I've got The Mind and Exposition of Martin Bucer, 1566. Martin Bucer Reforming Church Community. A couple other ones. Seems like
archive.org.
Yeah. Yep. Seems like. So
cool.
Anyway,
so like that's those would be my picks for Reformation. I don't think I'm anything like Luther.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least not. Yeah, I think I don't think that I bear a massive amount of resemblance to Luther in my attitude. And then for more modern times,
like your two great awakenings period.
Yeah.
Your American or English person from that period, usually.
Yeah. Maybe Machen?
I could see Machen. I could also see Edwards.
I don't want to compare myself to Edwards.
Got issues with Edwards?
No. Edwards is the greatest mind that the American continent has ever produced. I don't feel comfortable comparing myself to the greatest mind America has ever produced.
Okay, regardless of the extent of his mind and his the thing that I think he's really getting praised for most of the time, which is his prolificity. What's that word? Prolificness. What is that word? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think he's more getting praised for that most of the time than actually his mind. I think he definitely has a great mind. Don't get me wrong.
I mean,
but
he wrote textbooks for fun.
Right.
He wrote
exactly.
He wrote Princeton's mathematics textbook that lasted for 100 years.
Right, and when I read him, right, yeah,
on top of everything else, like he was a polymath.
This is my point. Is two completely other random people. Which is actually like in pure communication levels. Who is actually more successful? Why am I blanking out his name? Aquinas or Lewis?
That's a tough question.
Right, exactly. Because they're so very different. I read
they're so completely different.
I read Edwards and I see an American Aquinas. And for me, an American Aquinas, while there are some subjects that he writes that he's absolutely genius on and he's great at talking about, other times it feels like he's just writing for the sake of writing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I think of Edwards in terms, and the reason I brought it up is in terms of he genuinely loved being intellectual and thinking intellectually about the thing that he loved the most. And that I do see in you.
That's fair.
Right. But yeah, that's when I say Jonathan Edwards, doesn't mean I don't have a high view of him. I do. But I do think that he gets blown out of the water because all of the academics are just like, whoa, look at this insane body of work, man.
Yeah. Like ridiculously insane body of work covering like at least 5 different fields.
Mm-hmm.
And also being one of the most influential men as far as the culture of America.
Right.
Period. Like,
right.
I feel like the only other person who you could put up feel like the only other 2 or 3 people that you could put up as far as like influencing the culture of America would be Washington, Franklin, maybe, and Ford.
So when you're saying that, you're saying in the time since they've been alive?
I'm saying like as far as their influence on the culture of like how much did they impact, how much was American culture in life shaped by their life? And
so in their time,
I'd say that echoes even to now. Like,
well, of course it does.
Edwards' defense of Congregationalism is why we have so many Baptist churches and Nazarene churches, and that's why we have that. Edwards influenced the religious fabric of America more than any single other person. I'd say that.
Who would you? I would say more than any other American.
Did you say Whitfield?
No.
Wesley?
No, further back. There's no American Revolution without Cromwell.
Okay. I mean,
there's no Mayflower without Cromwell.
True. There's. It's not that there's no America. America was going to be a thing no matter what.
Right. Yeah,
but America looks substantially different without Cromwell and the Glorious Revolution.
The Scots-Irish don't exist in the same way without Cromwell.
Yeah. Okay, what's the book you recommended on Cromwell? Because every single thing that I read about Cromwell says he's absolutely awful.
Yeah,
even from Christian sources.
Yeah, because they're terrible. So there's 2 things. One is the very historically accurate movie with starring Richard Harris, and then the other is Joe Moorcraft's sermon series that I keep pointing you to.
Okay,
which I may need to find for you because
if you could find that for me, that would be fantastic.
But the movie is really, really good, except for the fact that it does a good bit of because Alec Guinness is playing Charles. They do a lot of sympathy baiting for Charles in the movie, which I kind of get, but also like he did some really terrible treasonous things. Anyway, let me see here. Also, of course, I don't like what Cromwell did after a certain point, and he didn't take care of his children right. Like, I'm there, but everything else, I'm like, yes, he did what was right in the moment. Let me see here. Joe Moorcraft. So we come to the speaker, and we search for series. Yep, series, and then Cromwell. Surely there's history, maybe?
So, Cromwell was a Puritan, right?
History of the Reformation, 55 sermons. Let me see here. Cromwell was not technically a Puritan. So this whole series is amazing. You can just listen to the Cromwell ones if you want, but it's 55 sermons that he gave on the history of the Reformation.
Okay.
And I'm going to send it to you. It is excellent. I think there's like 5 sermons on Cromwell and Charles I. So anyway, yeah. So anyway, what was the question?
I asked if Cromwell was a Puritan.
Not technically. He was an independent.
Okay.
He was he was Congregationalist, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
Let me see here. So yes, The Presbyterian William Prynne, in contrast to the Congregationalist Cromwell, was opposed to the latter's pro-Jewish policy. Yeah. So anyway, yep. So yeah, he was Congregationalist. He was for baptizing babies, but otherwise was basically a Baptist.
So,
yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yep.
I didn't realize that he was a Congregationalist.
A lot of people don't. A lot of people think he was Presbyterian or they think he was Anglican. He wasn't for either.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Yeah. He actually wanted real, like, open freedom. That's kind of where we start getting that idea in the higher ups. Because Cromwell showed it could actually happen.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah. But
disestablishmentarianism.
Back to, yeah. But back to what I was saying, like I don't think that anybody else. I think that Edward's influence through like his beliefs, congregationalism, his prolific amount of preaching and writing, and also his he founded Princeton. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think so. One of the big colleges. I think that might be right.
I know it was Princeton. I'm not sure if he founded it or just rescued it. But I'm pretty sure he founded Princeton. Like in his founding of Princeton, I'm honestly not. He's one of the top 5 influencers of American culture ever. Period. I would argue.
Yeah.
And the other ones that I can think of is like Benjamin Franklin embodied American exceptionalism and ingenuity, like that that level of that. Washington embodied this like the statesman, but not just the statesman. Like Washington is the ideal. Washington is the ideal that every American man at least strives to be, like this like man who has worked to bring himself to a high level of society and is able to speak and everybody else quiets, and has accomplished great things and owns massive amounts of land. Like Washington is the ideal American.
Interesting thing I read about Washington, someone who heard him do his inaugural speech, they said that he hardly removed his eyes from the paper and didn't speak very well publicly. I thought that was interesting. It's like, he was actually a human.
Yeah.
Sorry, didn't mean to like interrupt totally, but
not at all. Not at all.
He was also a man.
Yeah. But
yeah,
like,
I think
Washington embodies the ideal, and I would say that Ford embodies Ford is the embodiment of American capitalism.
Ford is the manager. Am I thinking of someone else?
He was like those would be the immediate people that I'm like, oh yeah, they're the ones who influenced the culture of America, America's ideals, America's specifically how American ideals look in a life. That's what I would argue.
Yeah, was Ford before or after Edison?
Ford is after Edison. Ford is the early to mid 1900s. He's like, Ford was a Nazi. So
yeah.
Like, take that for what it's worth.
I think Edison probably influenced Ford a lot, and I would put Edison a little further back on that as far as the tree goes. Yes, Ford popularized the assembly line. That's really the main thing, and that fed into all the way into Walt Disney. And that was the thing that was actually the thing that Tolkien had issue with, was the assembly line idea. You know, And
what? Tolkien had issues with assembly lines and capitalism. Tell me that ain't so.
Well, he especially had issues with the concept of an assembly line in general, and that's very much seen in Lord of the Rings. I think it's interesting in general. Like, okay, I understand worker drones. I understand using metal and wheels to create something that is unoriginal, right? And taking time to make something original is very important. I don't think it's so odd to me that I don't think Tolkien ever equated mass media such as Gutenberg's printing press with assembly lines. And I'm pretty sure that Tolkien, even though he was a scholar, was thoroughly happy that the printing press existed. I've never read anything on him talking about the printing press, but obviously he had issues with Reformation, he had issues with that, but like, I think even he would be like, yeah, I can do what I do because of the printing press, you know? So that's interesting. I'm not even saying anything specific at this point. I just think there's categories that people immediately go to with technology, AI, other stuff. I'm just speaking in general. I'm not even directly speaking about AI, where, you know, guns are another example. You know, we're talking about guns tonight to get the car companies were putting guns and gun racks in their deals to sweeten it back in the day. And, you know, we're saying we could bring that back in the rural areas and that would be real good. Well, why do we think it's good for people to have guns en masse when, like, semi indiscriminately, you know? Like, we obviously don't want psychopaths that need to be in insane asylums to have guns, but like, that's something that's taken care of by the fact that they're insane and can't purchase one most of the time. Right. But point being, like, I think it's interesting that we don't have those same style conversations in regard to things when people are starting to figure out how to use, like, I'll use an example of assembly lines can be many different things, but one thing that is a common feature of them is conveyor belts, right?
Yeah.
So we look at a conveyor belt, and generally speaking, I think people still have distaste for a large warehouse with conveyor belts. It's not a pleasant thing or area to be, but what it can produce can be very good depending on what you're doing. What it can move, how it can help society can be very good. It just has a more narrow use than especially back during, you know, Industrial Revolution, when conveyor belts were likely invented. Obviously we have other conveyor belts way back in the Middle Ages, but you know what I'm saying, like the stereotypical factory conveyor belts run by gas or you know, gasoline or electricity or whatever else. Like, we don't like that. We see it as machines, we see it as unfeeling, you know, and it is, because it has a very specific purpose. Right. And it's a narrow purpose. And when we just invented something and we're trying to figure out what it's for, right? Like, you don't want a light bulb everywhere. There are some places that need to be dark. You don't want it on all the time. It needs to be dark sometimes. So you create an off switch, right?
Yeah.
I think that rather than decrying the thing as a whole, we need to get more creative about, like, narrowing the scope. What do you think of that? Just in a general sense. Because I want to narrow the scope on AI. I want to widen it in some areas, but mostly I want to narrow it. You know?
Yeah. I don't know.
Just throwing that out there.
Did you happen to listen to the podcast from this week?
No, I'm going to swap with you on that. There's one called Grounded that we saw at Fight Laugh Feast. They did one with Nox that they just uploaded too. So I will listen to the podcast one. You should look up Grounded and listen to Nox's one because they talked in depth on AI. So that was real good. Yeah, let me see if I can find it.
Just Grounded?
I believe so. Chocolate Knox podcast. Let's see. I have it in my phone. I subscribed to them when I was there. Let me look at it again. It is Grounded with Steve Hartland. Hartland.
Yep. Got it.
Cool. And I will listen to the podcast one.
Cool.
The other thing I wanted to ask before I get going, because it's around that time, how far are you in ITR? Did you get any further?
I did not. I ended up having a job come up, and I didn't have any time to read it. And now I have a full job that I'm working on. I will try to fit that in over the weekend. I may have some time on Friday.
Okay. Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah, I loved when y'all get a chance to get around to it. Help me, or we could talk about what we need to do as far as the especially building out what we need for the Grievian Empire. I could do it, but I'm trying to be patient and wait for you guys because I feel like this could be a real bonding experience if we can get this thing sewn up. So,
Carrie's back.
He sure is.
Yeah,
I'm about to roll, so
I am as well.
But
I see. I see how it is, y'all. Y'all just want to leave whenever I join. Yeah.
Nah, I got some work to finish up, but before I get to bed. But yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
And I have a wife to be with, so
that's fair. Yeah.
But I love you guys very much. Thank you for being on, Abby. Appreciate y'all.
Yep.
Nice to see us.
Nice talking with all of you.
If there's anything I can pray for you,
thank your dad, Carrie.
Yeah.
Do I know?
Yeah, that was fun.
Said thank your dad for the history talk.
I will do that. I'm still here. So.
Also,
Awesome.
If there's anything I can pray for you guys during the week, just DM me. I'm trying to pray for people more.
What kind of prayers? Do they have to be super important?
No. Email me. I don't care. Text me, email me, call me, beat me if you want to reach me. Anyway.
Oh, no, I'm just, okay.
Okay.
Anyway,
love you guys.
Talk to y'all soon.
Talk to you later. Bye.
You too can be a part of the brood of writers and poets at war. Just visit joshuadavidling.com/discord to join. If you're a true poetry patriot, you can support us on Substack and Patreon and get the recordings of all of our encouraging and strategic meetings, along with much more. Once again, all links can be found at joshuadavidling.com. Over and out.
God of song said